City of Shadows. In the sprawling city of Rosmere, where shadows concealed secrets and ambition ran rampant, Leon Guzman found himself at a crossroads. As the COVID-19 pandemic swept across the nation, it left him without a job at the bank that had been his livelihood for years. But Leon's dedication to his elderly, ailing parents was unwavering, and he refused to see them suffer. The sterile fluorescent lights of the bank's HR office buzzed overhead as Leon listened to the cold, clinical words of his boss. "I'm sorry, Leon, but due to the economic impact of the pandemic, we have to let you go," his boss said, trying to sound empathetic but failing to hide the detachment in his voice. Leon clenched his jaw, his knuckles turning white as he clutched the envelope containing his termination papers. "You're letting me go, just like that? After all these years?" The boss sighed, looking down at his desk. "It's not personal, Leon. It's about survival, for the bank and for you too. Times are tough." Times were indeed tough, and Leon knew it all too well. His parents, once full of vigor, were now confined to their small, modest home, their health deteriorating with each passing day. He'd drained his savings on medical bills, and the guilt of not being able to provide for them gnawed at him. Driving home, Leon's thoughts were a whirlwind of desperation and frustration. He knew he had to find a way to make money, and fast. But legitimate job opportunities were scarce in a city gripped by economic uncertainty. One evening, as Leon sat at the kitchen table with his parents, his father coughed violently, his frail frame shaking with each convulsion. Tears welled up in Leon's eyes as he looked at them, helpless. He couldn't bear to see his parents suffer any longer. "Leon, Hio," his mother said weakly, reaching out to touch his hand. "Don't worry about us. We've had a good life." Leon squeezed her hand gently, his voice choked with emotion. "I won't give up, Mama. I promise." But promises alone wouldn't pay the mounting medical bills. Leon realized that if he wanted to provide for his parents and give them the care they deserved, he'd have to make some difficult choices. It was on a rainy night, in a dimly lit bar on the outskirts of Rosmere, that Leon overheard a conversation that would change the course of his life. Two men at the bar spoke in hushed tones about the lucrative world of organized crime, where money flowed like water for those ruthless enough to seize it. Leon's curiosity was piqued, and he discreetly listened as they discussed the power and wealth that came with controlling the city's underworld. The decision weighed heavily on Leon's conscience, but as he watched his parents' health deteriorate, he knew he had no other choice. He had to enter the world of crime, not as a villain, but as a desperate man driven by love and the unwavering determination to save his family. The rain outside intensified, mirroring the turmoil in Leon's heart as he contemplated the path he was about to tread. Faced with the harsh reality of unemployment and mounting medical bills, Leon made a fateful decision. He would venture into the dangerous world of organized crime, not out of desire, but out of love for his parents. He knew it was a path that would forever change him. One evening, after days of researching the criminal underbelly of Rosmere, Leon found himself in a rundown, smoke-filled pool hall on the city's outskirts. The place reeked of stale beer and desperation. He approached a man named Carlos, a well-connected figure known to have his finger on the pulse of the criminal underworld. Leon cleared his throat nervously and spoke in a low voice, trying to hide the desperation in his eyes. "Carlos, I heard you might know how a guy like me could find some work, something off the books, you know." Carlos sized Leon up, his gaze sharp and calculating. He leaned closer, his voice barely a whisper. "You're looking for the kind of work that comes with risks, amigo. You sure you're up for it?" Leon nodded, his determination unwavering. "I don't have a choice, Carlos. My parents' medical bills are piling up, and I can't stand to see them suffer any longer." Carlos sighed, the weight of responsibility heavy in his eyes. "I've seen good people go down this road, Leon, and it's not pretty. But I get it. Family comes first." As Carlos introduced Leon to the criminal underbelly of Rosmere, he became acquainted with a motley crew of characters, each with their own reasons for straying into the world of crime. Among them was Sophia, a street-smart hacker who could infiltrate the most secure systems with ease, and Marco, a burly enforcer with a heart of gold, who had once been a boxer but now fought a different kind of battle. As they sat in a dimly lit hideout one evening, plotting their first move, Sophia tapped her fingers rhythmically on the keyboard, her eyes darting across multiple screens. Okay, Leon, we've got access to some bank accounts. Low-risk stuff to start, nothing too flashy. We siphon off a little cash here and there, and it won't even raise an eyebrow. Leon leaned forward, his brow furrowed with worry. But what if we get caught? I can't afford to go to jail, not with my parents depending on me. Marco, his massive frame towering over the others, placed a reassuring hand on Leon's shoulder. We've got your back, Leon. We're not amateurs. We know how to cover our tracks. The room fell silent as the weight of their decisions hung in the air. Leon knew he was treading on treacherous ground, but the love for his parents propelled him forward. He glanced at a framed photograph of his parents on the table, their smiles frozen in time, a reminder of the reason he had embarked on this perilous journey. With each passing day, Leon's descent into the criminal world became more profound, and he found himself making choices he never thought he would. It was a path fraught with danger and moral ambiguity, and Leon was acutely aware that it would change him in ways he couldn't yet fathom. But as he saw the relief in his parents' eyes when he could afford their medications, he couldn't help but believe that he was doing what he had to, even if it meant sacrificing his own soul in the process. Enter Annabella Duncan, a relentless and principled police officer who patrolled the same streets where Leon's desperation was about to take root. She had known Leon for years, her heart torn between her duty to uphold the law and her love for the man who had captured her heart. Annabella had always played by the rules, but when it came to Leon, she was willing to bend them to the point of breaking. Annabella's patrol car rolled to a stop on a quiet Rosmere street, rain drizzling down the windshield. She stared out into the night, the glow of neon signs reflecting in her tired eyes. It had been a long day of chasing down leads and trying to make sense of the growing wave of small-scale thefts in the city. She sighed, her thoughts drifting to Leon. They had known each other since childhood, growing up as neighbors in the same tight-knit community. Their friendship had deepened into something more, a love that had blossomed quietly, out of sight from prying eyes. Annabella had always admired Leon's unwavering dedication to his parents and his sense of responsibility. But now, she found herself torn between her feelings for Leon and her duty as a police officer. She had seen the devastation that crime could bring to families, and she couldn't bear the thought of the man she loved becoming entangled in the very world she fought against. One evening, as Annabella reviewed the latest reports of the city's growing criminal activity, she came across a familiar name, Leon Guzman. Her heart sank as she read about his involvement in a series of financial crimes. She knew she had to confront him, to warn him of the dangers he was diving into. Annabella drove to Leon's parents' modest home, her heart pounding with a mixture of love and anxiety. She knocked on the door, and Leon's mother greeted her with a warm smile. "Annabella, it's been a while. Please, come in." As Annabella stepped into the small living room, she saw Leon sitting there, his face etched with worry. His parents excused themselves, leaving the two of them alone. "Annabella," Leon began, his voice laced with guilt, "I know what you're thinking, but I had to do this. My parents' health was deteriorating, and I couldn't stand by and watch them suffer." Annabella's eyes welled up with tears as she took his hands in hers. "Leon, I love you, and I understand why you did this. But you're walking down a dangerous path. You know I can't ignore my duty as a police officer." Leon's shoulders slumped, and he lowered his gaze. "I never wanted to put you in this position, Annabella. But I had no choice." Torn between her love for Leon and her commitment to the law, Annabella knew she had to find a way to protect him, even if it meant bending the rules. She leaned in and whispered, "I'll do whatever I can to keep you safe, Leon. But promise me, you'll be careful." Their love, forged in the crucible of their shared history and now tested by the choices they were making, hung in the balance. Annabella would have to navigate the treacherous waters of her own conscience, willing to bend the rules to protect the man she loved, even if it meant risking everything she had worked so hard to uphold. As Leon's crime organization began to take shape, he found himself in a deadly game with Aaron Britt, the city's ruthless criminalord. Aaron cared for nothing but the accumulation of wealth, no matter who suffered in the process. His rise to power had been marked by bloodshed and betrayal, and he saw Leon's ambitions as a threat that needed to be extinguished. Leon's organization, which he had reluctantly named Guzman's Guardians, was growing at an alarming rate. With Sofia's hacking skills and Marcos' imposing presence, they had managed to infiltrate several small businesses, siphoning off profits while avoiding detection. It was a delicate dance of deception, one that Leon hoped would provide a lifeline for his parents. But as Leon delved deeper into the criminal world, he couldn't ignore the ominous rumors that swirled around Aaron Britt. Aaron was a man of imposing stature, both physically and in the criminal hierarchy of Rosmere. His sprawling mansion was rumored to be filled with ill-gotten treasures, and his influence reached into every dark corner of the city. One evening, as Leon sat in his makeshift office, poring over financial reports, Sofia rushed in, her face pale. "Leon, we have a problem. Aaron Britt is taking notice of us, and he doesn't seem pleased." Leon's heart raced as he looked at the evidence Sofia had gathered. Aaron's enforcers had been spotted near the businesses they had targeted. It was clear that Aaron saw Leon's modest organization as a threat to his empire. "We can't back down now," Marco growled, his fists clenched. "We're doing this for Leon's parents, and we're not letting Aaron take that away." Leon nodded, his determination resolute. "We have to be smarter than him. We can't afford a direct confrontation, not yet." As the days turned into weeks, Leon and his team became masters of subtlety, moving their operations further underground. They left no trace, no breadcrumbs for Aaron to follow. Annabella, torn between her love for Leon and her duty as a police officer, helped keep him one step ahead of her colleagues. But Aaron Britt was not one to be underestimated. He had spent years building an empire on the blood and sweat of others, and he would not allow anyone to challenge his supremacy. He summoned his most trusted lieutenants, a group of hardened criminals with a reputation for ruthlessness. In a dimly lit room within his mansion, Aaron leaned back in his leather chair, his eyes narrowed as he spoke to his lieutenants. "This upstart Guzman and his band of misfits think they can encroach on my territory. I want them crushed, and I want them to know who they're dealing with." One of his lieutenants, a scarred man with a gravelly voice, spoke up. "Boss, we've heard rumors that Guzman has an inside connection. A cop, no less." Aaron's lips curled into a menacing grin. "Ah, that complicates things, doesn't it? Find out who this cop is and use it against Guzman. And if that doesn't work, we'll resort to more direct methods." The city of Rosmere became a battleground, a chessboard where Leon's pawns clashed with Aaron's rooks, knights, and bishops. It was a deadly game where every move could be their last, and where the line between right and wrong became increasingly blurred. The tension in the city hung like a storm cloud, casting a pall over its inhabitants. Leon's organization continued its careful dance through the criminal underworld, stealing from the wealthy and distributing to those struggling to survive. They had become modern-day Robin Hoods, albeit with much more at stake than their legendary counterpart. Annabella, meanwhile, walked the thin line between her duty as a police officer and her love for Leon. She passed on information to him, always careful not to leave any trace of her involvement. Their clandestine meetings in the dead of night, whispers exchanged beneath flickering streetlights, served as a testament to their unwavering love and shared commitment to protect Leon's parents. But Aaron Britt was not one to be underestimated. He expanded his web of influence, tightening his grip on Rosmere's criminal enterprises. As Leon's organization grew bolder, Aaron's retaliation became more ruthless. His enforcers descended on small businesses, leaving destruction and fear in their wake. One fateful night, as Leon and his team gathered in their hideout, Sofia's face turned ashen as she monitored security camera feeds. "Leon, we've got trouble. Aaron's men are at Marcos' gym. They're sending a message." Leon's heart sank as he watched the live feed of his friend's gym being trashed. Marco, who had become a pillar of support, was now in grave danger. "We can't let this stand," Leon said through gritted teeth. "We have to strike back, but we need to be smarter than them." Annabella, torn between her loyalty to the law and her love for Leon, approached him quietly. "Leon, be careful. I can't protect you if things get out of hand." Leon nodded, a steely determination in his eyes. "I know, Annabella, but I won't back down. Not when my family's future is on the line." The battle between Leon's organization and Aaron's criminal empire escalated with each passing day. It was a war fought in the shadows, with tactics and strategies reminiscent of a high-stakes chess match. Sophia hacked into Aaron's financial records, uncovering hidden accounts and vulnerabilities, while Marco used his skills to ensure their enemies couldn't trace their operations. As the conflict raged on, Aaron's ruthlessness knew no bounds. He planted false evidence, turning public opinion against Leon's organization. The city's underbelly became increasingly dangerous, with innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire of this bitter rivalry. The line between right and wrong blurred to the point of near invisibility. Leon and his team, once driven by a desperate need to provide for their loved ones, found themselves making choices that would haunt them forever. And Aaron Britt, consumed by greed and power, was willing to sacrifice anyone and anything to maintain his dominance. In this deadly game of chess, the pawns were human lives, and the stakes were higher than anyone could have imagined. The city of Rosmere teetered on the brink of chaos, and the only certainty was that, in the end, someone would pay the ultimate price for power and survival. As the tension mounted and the stakes grew higher, Leon knew that he was not only fighting for his parents' survival but for his very soul. And in the shadowy underworld of Rosmere, where greed and power ruled, survival often came at a price too steep to bear. The city of Rosmere became the battleground for an intense power struggle, as Leon and Annabella fought against all odds to keep their love and their newfound criminal empire afloat. With each passing day, Leon was forced to make difficult choices, pushing the boundaries of morality as he sought to protect his family. As the conflict escalated, the once hidden world of organized crime in Rosmere began to unravel. Aaron Britt, the ruthless criminalord, was relentless in his pursuit of Leon and his organization. He used every resource at his disposal to track their movements, leaving Leon and his team in a constant state of paranoia. One night, after narrowly escaping an ambush by Aaron's enforcers, Leon retreated to the dimly lit basement hideout that had become the nerve center of Guzman's guardians. Sophia was furiously typing away at her computer, her brow furrowed in concentration, while Marco sharpened his skills with a set of throwing knives. Leon sank into a battered armchair, his exhaustion etched into every line of his face. "We can't keep running forever," he said, his voice heavy with resignation. "We need a way to end this." Sophia turned to him, her fingers poised above the keyboard. "Leon, we've got to expose Aaron's crimes. If we can gather enough evidence, we can bring him down." But exposing Aaron was easier said than done. The criminalord had covered his tracks meticulously, leaving behind no direct ties to his illegal activities. Leon knew that they needed a breakthrough, something that would give them the upper hand. Annabella, torn between her love for Leon and her duty as a police officer, continued to walk the tightrope between right and wrong. She couldn't stand idly by while her beloved city descended further into chaos, yet she couldn't bring herself to betray Leon either. One evening, as the rain poured down in relentless sheets, Annabella received a tip from an anonymous source within the police department. It was information about a secret meeting Aaron Britt was planning with other criminal figures to expand his empire. It was the break they had been waiting for. She rushed to Leon's hideout, the rain plastering her hair to her face. "Leon, I've got something. Aaron's planning a meeting. If we can get proof of his involvement in criminal activities, we can take him down." Leon's eyes widened with hope. "Are you sure about this, Annabella?" "It's risky." She nodded, her resolve unwavering. "I have to do this. For us, and for the city." With Annabella's information, Leon hatched a daring plan. Guzman's guardians would infiltrate the meeting, gather evidence, and expose Aaron Britt's criminal empire to the authorities. It was a high-stakes gamble, one that could either secure their victory or seal their fate. As the night of the operation approached, tension gripped the team. The line between right and wrong had blurred beyond recognition, and Leon's choices weighed heavily on his conscience. He knew that the path he had chosen was fraught with moral ambiguity, but it was the only way to protect his family and the city he loved. In the darkness of Rosmere, where power and greed held sway, Leon and Annabella's love was tested to its limits. They were willing to do whatever it took to bring Aaron Britt to justice, even if it meant confronting the darkest corners of their own souls. The city itself held its breath, waiting to see which side of the blurred line would emerge victorious in this battle for its very soul. Amidst the chaos and danger, Annabella was torn between her loyalty to the police force and her loyalty to Leon. She faced an impossible choice: bring down the man she loved or watch her city descend further into darkness. As the tension escalated in the City of Shadows, alliances were formed and broken, betrayals unfolded, and the line between right and wrong blurred to the point of no return. Leon Guzman's journey from a desperate man trying to save his family to a formidable crime boss was a testament to the lengths one would go for love, and the price one would pay for survival in a world where power and greed held sway. But the ultimate test of his resolve was yet to come, and it would shake the very foundation of his existence. The night of the climactic battle arrived, shrouding Rosmere in darkness. Leon's plan was set in motion, and Guzman's guardians infiltrated the meeting of criminal figures, armed with hidden cameras and recording devices. Annabella, torn between her love for Leon and her duty as a police officer, had a pivotal role in this dangerous operation. As Leon and his team gathered crucial evidence, they watched in horror as Aaron Britt's true brutality was revealed. The Crimelord's involvement in countless heinous crimes, from human trafficking to drug smuggling, was laid bare. It was a shocking revelation that would surely bring him to justice. But Aaron was no fool. He had suspected a mole in his organization, and as the evidence piled up against him, his rage knew no bounds. The meeting room erupted in chaos as Aaron's enforcers closed in on the infiltrators. A fierce gunfight ensued, with bullets whizzing through the air and the room filling with acrid smoke. Amidst the chaos, Annabella found herself trapped, her cover blown. She fought valiantly, but she was outnumbered and outgunned. A bullet struck her shoulder, and she cried out in pain, collapsing to the floor. Her vision blurred as she struggled to stay conscious. Leon, who had been battling his way through the chaos, saw Annabella go down and felt a surge of panic. He fought his way to her side, shielding her from the onslaught of bullets with his own body. "Hang on, Annabella," he whispered, his voice filled with desperation. With the evidence secured and Aaron's criminal empire crumbling around him, Leon made a daring move. He confronted Aaron face to face, a showdown that would determine the fate of Rosmere. The two men locked eyes, each fueled by their own brand of determination. "You're finished, Aaron," Leon declared, his voice unwavering. Aaron, wounded and cornered, sneered. "You think you can take me down, Guzman? You're just a pawn in this game." In a heart-pounding climax, Leon and Aaron engaged in a brutal hand-to-hand battle, their fists trading blows, their struggles shaking the very foundation of the building. It was a battle of wills, a clash of ideologies, and a test of Leon's unwavering love for his family and the city he had fought so hard to protect. With a final, desperate effort, Leon managed to overpower Aaron and bring him to his knees. The authorities stormed the scene, arresting the fallen Crimelord and securing the evidence against him. As the dust settled, Leon rushed to Annabella's side. She was battered and bloodied but alive. Their love had endured the darkest of trials, and now, against all odds, they had triumphed. In the aftermath, as Rosmere began to heal from the scars of the power struggle, one question remained: could love truly conquer all? The answer lay in the heart of a city that had witnessed the depths of human darkness and the enduring power of love's light.